Now, you play Officer Brana, who is taking a crack troop of Russians across Europe with Hitler's remains to humiliate Stalin. It's a fantastical tale. Do you want to talk us through when you first picked the script up and what it was about the character that appealed to you?
I read the script when we were still, I think, in lockdown. Well, we were in lockdown in Spain, where I live. So obviously it was just very exciting reading a script like this and imagining myself out in Estonia filming it and being Brana. It was pretty incredible, actually. I read it and straight away wanted to talk to Ben and hear more about it, hear about how he developed it. I'd never heard this story before. I actually didn't know that so many Russian women fought in the war. There were like 800,000 women, and I started reading up about that. And I really like the fact that it is a fictional story, but it is inspired by historical facts or documented historical facts. And there's lots of interesting stories there, and I thought it was about time that we told those stories of those Russian women.
Now, it's quite the all-action role for you in this one, I do believe. So what kind of preparation do you need? You know, there's military, there's guns. So what do you do in preparation for a film like that?
Try and get as fit as you can, I guess. Do some weight training and do some exercise. Definitely in the prep up to it, so that you can actually carry this gun, which is like heavier than me almost. And then we had some gun training when we got to Estonia, which was very nerve-wracking because you have to do it like in front of everyone. And they're very heavy, very old guns. And the kind of clocking, I mean, I'm sure that's not the word, but the kind of clocking bit where you have to pull it back, mine kept jamming. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to like fire me and hire someone else because I can't even use the gun properly, which is very important for this film. So we had some gun training, and actually just having to hold the gun in itself was the training that I needed because it was so heavy, my arms would start shaking. And then kind of the emotional, mental side of trying to understand what it was like for those women being surrounded by men at that time. You know, they'd go back and be shunned by their families and friends. Just reading lots of books and first-hand stories of those women.
Yeah, so I mean, what's the conversation like between you and the director about when you start doing that research and finding things out about what to do? How does that dialogue open up between you and the director about what that character would do?
Well, I guess it depends with who you're working with, but Ben is amazing and he's so open to what you might think and to any opinions, and especially that he's a man and I'm a woman, and he wanted any input that I could give, and being a woman. But he was just very open to just talking about those women and how we could implement a little bit of that, a bit of those real stories, but creating our own character, our own Brana, making it believable that she can lead these men, but that she has this evolution, this arc throughout the film where she has to find that strength, but she doesn't have it initially, and she starts gaining it bit by bit, where she has that conflict about following orders or doing what's right, and that's what gives her strength in the end. So just chatting a lot. Ben was always there to talk through everything, and that's really helpful.
Now, obviously, we're at FrightFest, and you've just come from your screening. What was particularly gratifying about what you saw from the audience reaction to the movie?
That everyone stayed for the Q&A, wanted to ask questions, everyone was curious, and they asked some really good questions. It's just nice to see all the faces. I mean, the last couple of years have been a bit shit for the film industry, and it's just nice to see everyone in a room and see that there's still that passion there to watch films, and festivals are always the best.
Indeed. Now, a few people will obviously recognise you from Wrong Turn, the recent reboot of that, and obviously we're at a horror festival with another dark film, so what's the appeal for you with the genre?
I love horror films, I love watching them, I particularly love being in them, and I think that they give women really good, strong female leads, and I think it's the genre that does that the most, so I have a lot of admiration, a lot of respect for this genre, and I think that it doesn't get what it deserves, really, and I hope to just make more. We have so many subgenres within horror, and that's what's exciting. I think you can do a film like this, you can do The Lodgers that I did, which is a gothic story, Wrong Turn, where you got a bit of everything that's like a survival film. It's very broad, there's a lot that can be done.
And one last question, what would be a fond memory that springs to mind from the shoot in Estonia?
The people, everyone that I got to work with, it was really, actors probably always say this about productions, but it really is true. This one, we just had such a lovely time. For a lot of us, it was our first job after a few months of not doing anything in the pandemic. And we were all so happy to be there. We all felt so grateful that it created a really nice energy on set. And we just all felt really lucky to be doing what we love. So, yeah, the people, everyone out there.
Well, look, thanks very much for joining us on FrightFest TV.
Thank you for having me, FrightFest.
It's a great film, by the way.
Thank you.